Wrestling Podcast with me, Buster Unmasked, is the only podcast for you where real pro wrestlers talk real pro wrestling and no bullshit allowed. All right, guys, y'all know the spiel. We're here. We're live. Of course, you're watching Buster Unmasked. And look, you know the rest of the spiel. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Facebook. You can catch us on Twitter. But every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Central Time, you can catch us on the Genesis TV network. It's on Roku, Fire Stick. They got a website. You can go straight and download the channel. Don't cost a thing. Every single Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central Time, go check out Buster Unmasked on the Genesis TV network. Look, guys, before we even get my guest on, and I've been looking forward to this show. He's one of the most talented dudes in the wrestling business. I just want to make one thing clear. Buster Unmasked is 100% a freedom of speech platform. Listen to that again. Buster Unmasked is 100% a freedom of speech platform. I will not censor any person's thoughts or opinions about anything. That's not my job. That's a God-given right to every man, woman, and child in the world. But most importantly in America, because all we have left is our freedom of speech and expression. If we lose that, we have nothing. So you can think what you want, you can say what you want, and if you want to try me and you want to find out how hard I'll fight for my rights and every other man, woman, and child's rights in America, fucking try me. Now, let's get down to business, guys. Today, my guest today is a second-generation wrestler. He is one of the most talented guys, bar none, in the wrestling ring, and he's one of the most creative guys in the professional wrestling business over the last 20 years. Look, this guy, he's a part owner of the brand new Wrestling with Pride promotion. And without any further ado, I'm bringing him on right now, Ray Ivy. Ray.
Hey, what's going on, Buster?
What's up, dude? I'm glad to have you here, man.
Hey, no, not much, man. Just, living the everyday dream, First of all, thank you so much for having me on tonight, man. Been looking forward to this.
Dude, me too, man. I've known you for probably 22 years or so. Yeah. Before you was even in the wrestling business. Right. Look, man, like I said, you're a second generation guy, so we're not going to start with how you broke in the business. Look, you were born, dude, you were born into this business. Your daddy was a wrestler, Midnight Special, legend around the Arkansas area. But talk to me about you, what it was like for you growing up in the wrestling business, because you did, man. You've been in it your whole life. Talk to me about that for a second.
Yes, sir. Like you said, man, my dad started back in this either late 70s, early 80s, and him and my Uncle Dave, Dirty Little Dave as well. He's them are the two that trained me. But growing up in it, man, it's not something that every kid gets to experience, I guess you could say, where, a lot of kids on weekends going to football games, baseball games, whatever. On Friday or nights or Saturday afternoons, we were loading up, heading to wrestling shows,
Right.
And on Saturdays, you get there early simply because, I'm sure you know the name Old Man John Carter. I don't know if you remember him.
Right. Yes.
Him, Dad, and Uncle Dave, they all ran shows together back in the day. And the fact of getting up there early and setting up everything, and, when I was first starting to be able to walk, they were getting everything else set up. I would be in the ring playing around, and that's, that was my childhood growing up. And then, Dad took a break for a little while, and I ended up, now I wouldn't say lose interest in it, but as a teenager, got sidetracked, I guess you could say, because Dad took a break.
Right.
Because, he had back issues. And when I finally, it's a crazy story how I found out I was having my first match. I was 19 years old. I called my dad on New Year's Eve one night. I was drunk as hell, yelling Happy New Year's,
Right.
And he was like, hey, by the way, congratulations. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, January 25th, you're having your first wrestling match. So I was like, whoa, okay. So the very next day, I called him back. I was like, dude, was I just like totally wasted, or did you actually say this? And he was like, no, you are. And then from that was like January 1st, which you know easiest way to say it is I've been practice training my whole life.
Right. That's what I was going to say. You've been in the ring since you
And
could walk. So, I mean,
yeah,
that's crazy, dude. And look, like you said, other families are going to do football, basketball, baseball, whatever. Wrestling people, Friday, Saturday, you go wrestling. That's just the way it is, man. You're gonna be
yeah,
somewhere Friday, somewhere Saturday, maybe even Sunday on a Sunday afternoon.
yeah.
You know, wrestling
Eh,
people's a breed of their own, dude.
But no, I like legit, bro. I couldn't have said that better. The wrestling, they say business, man, but I don't care if you're here in Arkansas and somebody out in California, the wrestling family, we're all one big
Right.
family. Um,
We
and
dysfunctional as hell, but
oh man, we dysfunctional as hell. And that's one thing, but that is one thing I do love about the wrestling business, man. Is there's some people that I don't agree with on certain situations, but at the same time, we'll fight for ours.
right.
There may be somebody in the locker room, man, that I don't care for. But there's two things, man. When I get in the ring with them, it's business. I'm out there. I'm going to protect them just like I would my best friend.
Right.
Because why? That we're a family. But if they get outside and somebody jumps them, but you best believe I'm jumping in.
Oh yeah, you don't jump on a wrestler nowhere, especially if there's other wrestlers around. I don't care if they hate each other. You got a problem then.
Man,
Every wrestler's gonna jump your ass, dude. It's simple as that.
oh man, what I tell you, I don't know if you remember this story. This is, let's see, I started in 02, so it was about 03 or so. It was OCO and MCW. Big Daddy LaFont still had it. It may have been earlier than 03, 04, but there was a guy in the crowd that tried Sexy Sam Dollar.
Oh God.
And you got a hold of him.
Oh, hold on. Now, was this out in the audience or out back?
This was out back.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, man. Look, I told that dude we were in the back, man. And I told him, he came around the back, and I told him over and over. I said, man, just go on. I said, just go on. And he kept walking up on me. Finally, he got a little, not close enough yet, but close enough where I figured, hey, it's either yay or nay on it. We're fixing to do something. And I told him one last time, I said, man, if you come up close enough to me, I'm going to drop you. And he had something in his hand. And in my head, I thought it was a knife, the way I told it. Turns out it was just a hand load,
you never know,
like a roll of quarters. But he come up on me, and I just left jabbed him. I mean, square in the face perfectly, man. Turned it. My dad used to box. All my uncles box. So I've been taught a little bit about how to throw a punch to get the most effect out of it. So I clocked him, and he kind of went down to a knee. And at that point, I just kind of pushed him down and got on his back and fish hooked him. And held him there. But then there was two women coming around trying to hit me with a hammer and a garbage can. So Sam had to keep them off of me until all the boys could get out there, because at this point, I still didn't know it was a roll of quarters. I thought it was a knife still. So in my head, I'm thinking, I keep him down here until
somebody else gets back here.
Until there's enough of us out here. So when I let him go, I can get back out of the way in case this is a knife. So that's what I did. But man, when he turned around,
back behind, especially behind the old the MCW build, man, it's dark. You don't know what the hell is going on.
And they had just put them white rocks, them big chunky rocks down, sharp rocks. So while I had him down, I was just kind of pressing on his head. And when he stood up, he had blood coming out of all different spots, man. But I told him over and over, and that ain't something that I like to do, man. Actually, that's the first time I've ever had that happen. Somebody just come on and push it that far. I've never had that happen before. Normally, they'll push it to a point and then they'll.
I've never had anybody in the. I take that back. It was a couple years ago. Where was I? I was either in Benton or Bryan, Arkansas. and I was working Insane Shane, and had a great match. Finished the match. I was heel. Somebody in the crowd, I was mouthing, and you know the whole bullshit spiel of,
Right.
won't you cross the rope. Well, this kid crossed the ropes, and I didn't want to like just beat his ass simply because, hey Alicia, how you doing? I didn't want to just like beat his ass because he looked like, I mean, you could tell he was a young kid,
Right.
and he done the whole thing of try to like spear me, take me down. I just hooked him in a chokehold and held him until security got there. And come to find out, when I got in the back, it was one of the workers' cousins. So
Lord
I was
Jesus,
like,
man.
dude, do y'all not tell y'all's damn family do not cross them ropes? I mean, but yeah, no, dude. But back, sorry I got sidetracked.
No, dude, you're good. Cause I mean, here's the thing. We're not going we might say a lot of stuff to you, but we're not gonna touch you. But we
Man,
really
that's 100. Yeah,
expect that same courtesy back. You're free to
man,
say
yeah.
anything you want to me. You can call me any name you want to call me. You might
Oh
even get
yeah.
away with
No,
spitting on me, and I might not do nothing. It's gonna piss me off, but I might let it go. But if you cross that
oh
line and you put your hands on one of us, I mean, you gotta handle it. It's just simple as that,
oh yeah,
dude. You know.
man.
Well,
We
look, man. Go ahead.
you
Go
know,
ahead, Ray.
go. I sort of say, yeah, I'm gonna turn it back to you. That way you can get me back in line there,
Okay. Well,
back
look,
on track.
we've talked about you growing up in the wrestling business, but look,
Hmm.
anybody who's watching can look above us. They can see the colors. They can see the unicorn.
Yes.
Anybody who knows you knows this already, but you're the like one of the only, maybe the first openly gay wrestlers in our area. So talk to
Yes.
me about how that is, Ray. How being a now openly gay man in the wrestling business. Tell me a little bit about that.
Um. First thing I'd like to point out is the fact of, hey Joseph, how's it going, man? The first and foremost is I like to point out is I was not the first gay wrestler in
Oh,
Arkansas or
absolutely
mid South
not.
area,
Right,
but in Arkansas, mid South area, I was one of the first openly gay wrestlers,
right,
and I started, like I said, I started in '02 wrestling. I was married to my ex-wife, and I just got like I met somebody, that made me feel comfortable with who I was, with myself. And I got tired of hiding who I was. And, I sit down and I evaluated things and I was like, I I fully expected to lose my career because I know we're in the Bible Belt. I know we're in the South.
right.
And
It's a tough sale, man.
it's
It's a tough sale.
it is. And I don't know if you remember and I can tell you the first federation organization, whatever you want to call it, that I was working for when I did come out was WFAC in Newport, Arkansas for Chris Bryant, Wrestling for a Cause.
Okay.
Uh, uh, that's who I was working for, and I was working in Batesville for. I know you remember Tasker.
Right. What
Um,
year was this, Ray?
this was '03, '04,
Okay.
and it was right as I met you. I had just recently come out, and I was fully prepared and well expected. Um, Alicia, you have no idea. That means more than anybody will ever know, especially in the South. um,
Right.
but I was full. When I first came out, I was like, okay, here it goes. And then I had multiple people come up to me and was like, hey, I don't care what you do at home. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. As long as you can perform in the ring, that's all we care about.
Right.
And you know, that was, I guess, the word I'm looking for. That was weight lifted off my shoulder
Man, I can
for
imagine,
for a
dude.
couple different reasons. For a couple different reasons. I didn't have to hide who I was anymore because when I came out in the business, I came out to my family as well.
Well, that's what I was going to talk to you
And
about. Well,
yeah,
here, once we go through the wrestling a bit, I do want to kind of backtrack on that, but you go ahead, Ray. Finish your thought,
oh okay,
dude.
yeah, no problem. What it was, man, is I left WFAC and went back to ASWF when Aaron Poston still owned it.
Right.
And I went up there one day to work out or something, and I was talking to Aaron. He was like, "Hey man, I got to ask you a question." I was like, "What's up?" He goes, "I was told that you recently came out of the closet. You came out." And I was like, back in my head, I'm like, "Oh hell, here we go,"
Right.
And I was like, "Yes sir, I did." And he was like, "You know what? As long as you still perform in the ring like you do, that's all I care about." He's like, the whole the same rules apply. You get one person in, and I was like, "Oh wow,
Right.
okay." At least he made light. At least he made light of the situation where,
Right.
I guess it was to let me know that it didn't bother him. And one of my best friends in the business, and I'm sure you know him, Josh Cross.
Right.
Me and him, I call him my road husband because I've known him for 20 years almost, and we've rode the roads together for 20 years. And he'll tell you straight up, man, before he met me, he was one of the most homophobic people you'd ever meet in your life.
Well, look, dude, I'm
And
glad you
once
brought
he
that
got to
up.
know me,
Go ahead,
go
Ray.
ahead.
No, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say, he said once he met me that he realized that homosexual or gay people, they don't want nothing but happiness, just like a heterosexual person.
Right.
And back to me changing his mind, I guess you could say, you know, made me think, if I can change his mind and have it quote unquote more acceptable in the business, it's my job to make other openly gay people feel okay enough to be their self in the business, if that makes sense. No, you ain't got to hide
No,
who
that's
you are.
perfect sense. Well, you said you actually came out in like 2003.
2003, 2004, yeah, something like that.
Do you know that I did not know that until probably 2011? Because think about this, back in 2006 at OSCW, you know,
Yeah.
I was there kind of helping with some of the matches and stuff, and I'm in the back running my mouth, cracking gay jokes left and right. I ain't think nothing about it, man. And look, I've been around gay people my whole life. I'm not homophobic a bit. It's just a lot of locker room talking. And here's the thing, I had no clue that you'd already came out. And like I said, it was even like 4 years after that before I knew that. And so I'm in the back, locker room talk, jargon. I'm cracking gay jokes. I'm laughing. I'm joking. And man, I didn't think nothing about it because in my head, I thought, because I think maybe you and maybe Tommy Wayne had just been Pretty in Pink, and you were going against Kid Crazy, both young guys. And I'm thinking in my head, shit, these two young guys are out here running through these rats, So I'm just in there talking, dude. Just locker room talk, the things guys talk about in the locker room. Because if you go into any locker room, whether it's wrestling or any sports locker room, there's no look, we talk about everything, laugh and joke and bust balls on everything. Look, dude, I didn't find that out until probably even 5 years later. And man, I felt so fucking guilty. Felt so bad about that. Because I did the whole time. I'm cracking gay jokes. I had no fucking clue, and I felt so guilty. And here recently, about
it's crazy
3 years,
you bring that up because I remember when you messaged me.
Exactly, that's what I was headed to, dude.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're right there. We're on the same page. You tell it, dude.
Yeah, you messaged me, and I'm sure if I go back, I can find it because I don't never delete messages.
Right.
And when you messaged me, I can't remember word for word what it said. It just said, if I offended you, I am I'm completely sorry. I apologize from the bottom of my heart,
Right.
And first and foremost, like I replied, you didn't offend me because it wasn't like, and the reason I say you didn't, I remember when from Bluff City Wrestling when you faced off against the Bluff City heavyweights. Yeah, Charles Ray threw my little ass around like a rag doll.
You ought to be used to that, though, man. You've been getting thrown around your whole career,
41 years old.
Right.
But the reason I say you didn't offend me is like you said, it was just jokes in the locker room, and that don't bother me. And you wasn't what's the word I'm looking? You wasn't derogatory towards me or towards the LGBTQ community. You never said the derogatory word, and I hate that. I hate the word, but I'll use the word. You never said faggot. You never said queer. Whatever.
Right.
And but at the same time, I don't know if I told you in the message or not. That meant more than you would ever know, simply because yes, this is a man sport, whatever they want to call it. When it's not a
Right.
man sport, it's a damn sport that anybody can be in. Um, the fact of it is, you thought about how that would affect somebody else, and I know, and I hate to say it, in today's society, that clashes, man. Some people care about other people's feelings, some people don't, and
Today, really, people only really care about their own opinions, most people, and their
yes,
own feelings. They don't take into consider anyone else. And dude, you talk about it was a weight lifted off of your shoulders coming out. After I found out that, because like I said, this was 2006 or so, and I
right.
didn't find that out. I didn't find out that you were out and that you were even gay until probably 2011. Sam, I think, told me. He said, man, he said, did you hear about Ray Ray? And I'm like, well, obviously not. I don't really talk to nobody but you. So if you ain't told me nothing, I don't know. And so he told me that you had came out. And I'm like, damn, man. And the first thing I thought about was that day in the locker room. And man, I thought, man,
Paragould, Arkansas at the Armory.
it looked like you said, it was all just jokes, but it's a respect thing.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, if I would have known, I'd have never been cracking any jokes or anything like that. And it was a weight lifted off of me when me and you talked on Messenger, because I thought about that for years and years. The older I got, the more, you know how you are. The older you get, the more aware you become. So I thought
the
about
more
that.
sensitive you get.
Well, over the years, man, I had thought about that time after time. And man, it was a weight lifted off of my shoulders. And I just wanted you to know that none of that shit was nothing but just locker room bullshit jargon.
I was gonna say locker room bullshit, man.
It's all it is, dude. And we shared a couple of messages, and boom, man. Like you said, it pulled a weight off your shoulders coming out. Well, look, let's go back a little bit now. Did your family already know this, or well, you said you came out to both at the same time. So talk to me about the perspective from coming out to your family, dude. Take us through that, if you would.
Oh yeah, not a problem, man. What it is, man? Easiest way to explain it is there's some in my family that said they suspected it, whatever, My dad, my stepmom, my mom, they really didn't know,
Right.
Because I mean, like to this day, man, if you was to drive to my dad's house, it's 2 miles down a gravel road. So that's how far out in the country we live.
Right.
And when I came out, I did. I mean, this tell you how country my family is as well, man. My dad's from Pocahontas, Arkansas. My
Says it
mother's from
all,
Mobile,
right
Alabama.
there. Might as well be from Elaine.
Man, I promise you. And when I told him, I'm not gonna lie, man, I didn't even tell my dad face to face. I told my dad over the phone. That's how scared I was.
Right.
And when I say scared, it wasn't like I was afraid that he was gonna physically assault me or anything. I never thought that. I just, we're in the South. I expected that, don't ever come back to my house, disowning. And he asked me, he goes, what took you so long to, what took you so long to tell me? And I told him, I was like, dude, I was afraid of losing our relationship, or, the father and son relationship. You're my best friend.
Right.
And he was like, man, there ain't nothing in this world could have ever made me disown you.
There you go, man. That's
when he
what
told
it's all
me
about
that,
right there.
when he told me that, I broke down. I ain't gonna lie, because I was a 20-something-year-old kid that I guess you could say finally got the approval that it's okay to be myself.
You got set free, dudes. You could be who
But
you are.
yes, 100%. That's the best way to explain it. You actually explained it better than I could, man. That I could 100% set free, to spread my wings and become myself.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to lie. There's a couple people on my side of in my family that I don't talk to because of it, and it's the whole and like me and you talked earlier. I don't get into religion. I don't get into politics with friends or family because those two things will split family or friendship in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, they'll get people killed. Both of them will get
One hundred
people killed.
percent. And I got a sister. I give her 100% credit for helping me get clean. The way I measure two things, man, is January 25th of every year. I celebrate two things. I celebrate my anniversary in wrestling, and I celebrate my anniversary of being clean. And January 25th of this year was 22 years clean, 22 years in the business, wrestling, physically.
Damn.
And
That's
I give her credit because
dude.
when I was, man, I could feel it every day. And, I give her 100% credit. When I needed a place to stay, when I was getting clean, when I needed a place to stay because I had nowhere to stay because, I was young and dumb and I was kicked out of my house, not my house, but, the place I was renting. She gave me a place to stay and get clean, man. I give her credit for that. But at the same time, just because I give you credit for that, don't mean I have to let you disrespect me. And that, it is what it is. I love my sister to death with everything, but at the same time, if I show you respect, you show me respect.
Right. That's got to be hard, dude. I mean, I understand. I got a brother and a sister, and I understand how that stuff is, man. The family dynamic's always tough, man. It just is. Well, look, dude. So you're out to your family. You're out in the wrestling business, and you've had a few reinventions and incarnations of
Yes, sir.
Ray through the years. Like when I first kind of really you were started making waves, you was a Suicide King for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Now,
go ahead. I was going to say the way I got that name was by accident. I was doing what do you call it, street fight, whatever you want to call it, and I got slammed face first. Well, I'll say face first, drop toe hold face first into a chair that was set on fire, and the announcer yelled, "Oh my God, he's suicidal! It's the Suicide King," and it stuck with me. That's how I got that name. It was by accident.
Dude, that's how some of the best monikers and names in the business.
Yes.
If somebody else gives them to you or somebody says something that just sticks, man.
That clicks. 100%.
Right. And it fits you, dude. The Suicide King fits you. But okay, so you've got this freedom now. You're out. Look, even before you well, I don't know. You say 2003. So by the time 2006, the Pretty in Pink gimmick, y'all were kind of, you wasn't out, but you kind of played it up that you could be,
yes,
could be gay, and people,
yes.
So when did you finally come out to like just across the board to all the fans, 100%? When did that happen?
Probably 07, something like that. 08, okay. Because at the time I was dating somebody and he was going to shows with me. So, before that, it was that whole, it ain't none of the crowd's business what I do, whatever. But at the same time, with my significant other, my, my partner, whatever you want to call them, I'm not going to hide it. At that point in time in my head, I was like, I'm not going to hide nothing because, it is what it is. If they either like me or they don't, And so, then came the Pretty in Pink, where don't want to say we kind of ripped off the Goldust character because I didn't go as far like with the face paint and all that, Literally, we wore pink. We carried chapstick around. I still carry chapstick every day.
Had pink hair. I think you had pink hair for a while.
Yes. And it was that. And then, just like basically just like any other gimmick or character, it's eventually going to run its course.
Right. Well, look, dude. So you got freedom in your personal life. You're out in the wrestling business. Did being able to be 100% out in the open and be free, did it help you in the wrestling business as in the ring? Did it allow you to kind of spread your wings even further in the business? Because now you're not hiding nothing. You're being Ray Ivy 100%. Because we're gonna get to you had a couple of more names through time, but did just coming out all across the board open you up for more creativity and everything in the wrestling business? Were you free to kind of just now be yourself and not have to govern anything you did, not have to censor anything you did?
I say yes, in my personal opinion. I think it 100% did because, like you said, I was able to be myself. I didn't. Okay, we know a lot of the characters, the gimmicks, the personas. They're a put on. They're a put on. I think with when somebody has a character that is their self dialed up 100, that's your best ones.
Always,
and I
dude.
say that
Anytime.
because I was agreeing with you because, like you said, anytime somebody can be their self, you get more authenticity out of it.
That's right, right. And speaking of authenticity, now you're known as the authentic Ray Ivy, but you had a stint for a while as the hardcore homo. Now, talk to me about the idea of the hardcore homo. And look, I get the feeling a little bit of it was almost like a middle finger because, like you said, you're in the Bible Belt, and I mean,
yes.
if you want to cause a disturbance, that moniker will do it to you. Do it. I mean, if you want to get a reaction, that moniker should do it. So, take me through the concept of the hardcore homo, where it come from, what made you do it.
Well, what gave me the hardcore homo or moniker, whatever you want to call it, is the back. I'll dial it back just a few to WFAC in Newport. The first time I ever even thought of that name or whatever, I'll give that credit. And you know this man very well, Idle Bang.
Idle Bang, that's my dude, man.
But he's the one that came up with the hardcore homo moniker.
Sounds like some shit he'd come up with.
I actually had an angle going with him, man. It's we were doing a hardcore match in Newport, and it was I remember because it was like a 4-man elimination hardcore gauntlet match. That I won my very first ever hardcore title in, and it was Idle Bane, me. You remember the Canines, Bad Dog and Mad Dog?
Right.
It was Doug. I think that's Bad Dog. And Enforcer, Jim Chitty.
Dale's dad.
And yes, Deadly Dale's dad. And the finals were going to be me and Idol. Well, I had just eliminated Jim. And Idol Bane's music hit, and he comes out with a damn poster board that says Ray Ray, the hardcore homo. And I was doing Suicide King at that time. So, fast forward a few years, I'll say a few years, probably 2019. 2020 or so. We were in Grubbs, Arkansas with RWE.
Right.
And I got tired of just going out there as Ray Ray, because I had slacked off and just went as Ray Ray for a while. And I told Joey Britt, I was like, man, I want to try something tonight. And he was like, what's that? I said, I'm going to announce myself as something new. He said, what? I said, just listen to it. We'll see the reaction. Depending on the reaction, whether either be keep me baby or turn me heel.
Right.
And I had the announcer, and I got in the ring. I got an announcer's ear, and I was like, hey, when you announce me, announced me as the hardcore homo Ray. And he looked at me, he's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like,
Did he give you a
100%.
double? That's what I was thinking. Like, are you sure about this now?
Well,
Hey,
100%. His eyes were like,
look,
really?
when you walked off, he told the other, and I said, "This motherfucker's crazy, man. We gonna start a riot up in here tonight."
Well, he announced me as the hardcore homo Ray, and I'm not gonna lie, being you know where Grubbs is between Jonesboro and Newport,
Right.
and I was 100% expecting the crowd to turn on me because I was babyface. I was one of the top babies, and when they announced me as the hardcore homo, the crowd erupted in cheers, and I was like, "Oh wow!" And I got in the back, and Joey was like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Hey, that tells me I've done something right. Where no matter what moniker I'm going to use, if I want to be baby, they're going to stay behind me."
Right.
Because I'm doing like I don't like to be egotistical or sound big headed because that means to me that means I'm doing something right.
Yeah, no doubt about that, man. Like I said, that's a
So
hard
the
sell
next
from
week
the
I came in
get-go.
with
So
shirts. Oh, dude, I came in with shirts and pictures and everything the next week, and I sold out. It
there
said
you go.
hardcore homo Ray. I was like,
Like,
hey,
like, damn, I should have
got
did
to
this
make that
years
money, baby.
ago, man. I should have did this years ago. I might be a millionaire now if I'd have done this about 5-6
I
years
swear,
ago.
man. I expect anybody. I expect somebody to patent hardcore homo now to try to make money off of.
You need to patent it, dude. Here's the thing:
I
it's
need to.
already out in the public. So I mean, more than likely, if you ever come to had to go to court over it, if you can prove you did it first, then you'd probably win the
Oh
case,
yeah,
man. Well, look,
yeah,
you did
and
the hardcore homo for what, about 2 years,
2 or 3 years, yeah. Well,
and
about two and a half actually, yeah.
okay, and like I said, now because here's the thing. Wrestlers and wrestling is an evolution. Wrestlers evolve.
Mm-hmm.
The longer they stay in the business, the older they get, the more experience they get.
Yeah.
You should always continue to evolve. And so you kind of the Suicide King stuck. Idle Bane named you the hardcore homo. It stuck. It worked. But now, man,
Nine finger Philly.
there you go. You're the authentic Ray Ivy. And this is my personal opinion. I love that because here's the thing. It says everything. The authentic Ray Ivy. You get to be you. You're not trying to be anything that you're not. You're free to you're not worried about what anybody says or thinks about you or your life
Right.
or any of that. And I think it is the perfect evolution from Suicide King to hardcore homo to the authentic Ray Ivy. It's awesome, dude. It's my favorite. I think that's probably
Appreciate that,
what you'll
man.
stick with for the rest of your career. Truthfully, I think that's what's going to stick. Period. Joseph Earl
Yes,
Dawson.
Joseph.
He said he's also the authentic Ray Ivy in MCW, and we're going to talk about MCW because Ray's
Oh
got a
yeah.
big match coming up Friday. Got a couple of big matches this weekend, and we got a couple of graphics.
Yes,
We're going to
sir.
talk about them. So, talk to me
The
about the transformation from hardcore homo to the authentic. How did you? What bridged that gap right there?
what bridged that gap is back when I first started. Well, not when I first started, but at the time when I was running hard and heavy with the what do you call it? The hardcore homo in RWE.
Right.
Um, I did a death match with Lee Michaels,
Okay.
and I I resurrected the Suicide King for a night. And once that was done, that match was over. I retired the Suicide King because I couldn't do death matches all the time anymore. My body, man.
Right.
And I I was on the microphone. I said, from now on, all you're going to get is the authentic Ray Ivy, the authentic, But I still stuck with the hardcore homo. So fast forward about a year to MCW when I started going back to MCW on a regular basis, and what happened was I flipped from baby to heel, and I got to thinking, and I'll give credit to somebody else as well that helped me. You know, I guess not help me weigh the options. I guess you could say.
Right.
Um, when I flipped from baby to heel, I did not want to put the LGBTQ in the negative light.
Okay. Makes sense.
Um, and I'll tell you 100% who helped me evaluate that, and that was Serpent Harry.
Yeah, man. Look, Cypress a smart guy, man. He thinks. Here's
Yeah,
the thing:
100%.
a lot of wrestlers, I don't think they think shit through like you really should. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, this whole business is strategy, man. That's all it is.
Yeah,
It's
and that's something that
strategy.
I've had to learn over the years.
Dude, it's strategy. That's all it is. And Serpent's a smart dude. So you and Serpent
And,
are tossing this idea around. So
yes,
pick me up.
and well, that 100%. We're tossing it back and forth, and I know the month when it happened. It was back last June during Pride Month, and so something was said in about a flyer with my hardcore homo and the pride colors on my name,
Right.
and he brought it to my attention that, and I expect it in the South. Let me put that out there. I expect it in the South. But you can see over here. I'm not afraid.
Right.
And I told him, I was like, look, man, I understand we're in the South, but just know I understand the fact of, oh wow, Sleazy, thank you. So that means more than you'll ever know, man. Uh, in the South, I don't expect you to put all the pride colors on your flyer. I don't,
Right.
because I know in the South it's going to catch flat. It's going to catch pushback. But at the same time, if and me and Harry first, let me put this out there first and foremost. Me and Harry were on the same page the entire time. What's up, Aaron? Uh, I'll put this out, like I said, put it out there. Me and Harry were on the same page the whole time, so I don't want nobody thinking that we were bickering back and forth.
Right.
If I show enough respect that I understand that we're not going to put my rainbow flyer, my rainbow pride flag or whatever on your flyer. I want the same respect of, I'm going to be myself when I step in your ring.
Exactly.
You hired me because of what I do in the ring. Now don't bring in, and he didn't, but I tell people, don't try to bring me in and change me.
Right.
Because you knew what you were getting when you get me. So when I flipped heel, I was on, we got to thinking, I don't want to put the LGBTQ in a negative light, because it's already in a negative light enough in Arkansas.
Right.
So
you ain't never said no lie, man. But I'll be honest with you, right? I feel like times are changing, though. I don't feel like it's,
yes,
even 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Let's just go back to 2006. I don't feel like it's anywhere near the same stigma brought with it as it was 10 or 15 years
right.
ago, dude. I think people's evolving and becoming more accepting of each other to a point,
You said the
because
word.
there's a bunch of crazy motherfuckers out here, dude, that only give a shit about what they give a shit about.
I'll say it like this, man, and some people agree with me, some people don't, and I hate to say it like this, but I don't really give a shit. The fact is, you always hear these older generations, oh, we didn't have them back in our days. Bullshit. Yes, you did. The difference between then and now is the easiest way for me to say it is, we're not afraid anymore.
Right. You're not hiding it.
Exactly. There was just, it's more, like you said, it's becoming more acceptable. So we don't have to hide who we are anymore. We're not afraid to stand up for ourselves. Now, I'll tell you, I'm not the baddest man around, but by God, I'm not going to back down.
Right. And here's the thing, right? We're talking about wrestling. We're focused on wrestling, but look, I don't give a shit what field it is, football, baseball, boxing, MMA. It does not matter. There are gay athletes and gay people in every facet of our life. The difference is
Yes.
most people still feel the need to hide it because, I mean, look, if you're making multi-million dollars as an athlete and you feel like if you do come out, it's going to cost you. It happens all the time. There's a lot, many gay athletes in every sport there is. Some of them have the courage to come out. Other ones are still. And here's the thing: it might not be scared. It's a personal thing. I feel like it's something
100.
that you have to get to the right point in your life where you are almost accepting of yourself enough to come out and just show yourself to the world and say, here I am, accept me or don't.
100%, man. 100%. Like you said, if you're making $1 million to $2 million a year throwing a football, catching a football, whatever, and you don't want to risk that income to support your family, you don't want to risk that by coming out, I respect that. But like you said, it was a point in my time that I was finally able to accept myself.
Right.
I was finally able to accept the fact that I am gay, and I'm not going to hide it no more. Did I expect to lose my career in professional wrestling? Yes. Was I willing to? Yes. Did I want to? Absolutely not.
Right.
Because this is what I love to do. And, it's not a hobby to me. Yes, I don't make a living at it, but it's more than a hobby to me. It's a passion.
Right.
And I was expected to, I was willing to, but I promise you I would have put up a fight, 100%. So, that's why if I can be, and I'm only saying this for lack of better words, if I can be a beacon of light, if I can be a beacon of hope in the state of Arkansas or the Mid-South in general, that's what I want to be.
Right.
The fact of me not losing my career, my career, so quote unquote, taking off a little bit after I came out, that goes to show, like you said, the world is changing. It's becoming more acceptable. So if I can be that beacon of hope, that's what I want to do.
Sometimes the word acceptable kind of don't even really fit it, man. Everybody needs to learn to let people be who they are and not judge people. If I don't shoot you, steal from you or something, don't judge me on who I am and what I do. Is if it don't affect you, that's more of the issue. Because saying the word acceptable to me almost feels like you're doing something wrong. You're not.
I'll do it. I'll say it like this. Something that I said on the microphone at one of the shows. Wrestling with pride. I just want to bring that up for a second because that's where I was at when I said this on our first night. What wrestling with pride is about is promoting love and acceptance of anybody, everybody, no matter whether you're straight, gay, bi, pansexual, transsexual, transgender, whatever. Anybody's welcome. What I said on the microphone is, we promote love and acceptance. I don't promote love and tolerance.
Right.
Because
right.
tolerance is just like, oh, they're there, I'm gonna tolerate them being here. And I hate to say it this way, but yeah, you can kiss my ass, by God, simply because I'm promoting love and acceptance, because you will accept me. You may not approve of me. You may not approve of my lifestyle. You may not like it, but you will not disrespect me. You will show respect if I show respect to you.
Exactly. Look, dude, here's the thing, man. You mentioned wrestling with pride, and I didn't know it until right before we went on air, but you're part owner in this company. So take us through the concept of wrestling with pride. Is it something you've had for a long time, an idea, or Is it something that you just come up with it? And then take me through what was the catalyst for y'all, you pulling the trigger and actually making this thing happen, man?
Um, it's an idea that I've had for a while in the back of my head. Um, I wanted, again, and I know I've said it repeatedly. I know we're in the South. I knew it was going to be a gamble. Um, but like I said, it's an idea I've had in the back of my head, but I just never really had the time to even try to do it because I was, working for RWE every weekend. I had started working for OCL on Friday nights, and I did about a 5 week stint, 4 to 5 week stint in TIWF. You know, here and there, done shot shows. What do we call them back in the day? Pop up shows. Um, different
One-offs.
towns. Yeah, one offs. That's what it was. Um, and then see, a year ago, RWE closed its doors for a while. Hey, that's my goal, man. That is what like I said, man. If I could show people that it's okay to be themselves, that I've done my job.
There you go, man. It's Aaron. I don't know if anybody can read it, but he says, as a bisexual male, Ray is a role model to me. No BS. There you go, man. That right there is showing you that. I mean, you're affecting people, dude.
And go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, man. That's cool when somebody comes and just gives you a comment like that, because it lets you know that the thing you're doing is actually having an effect on other people's lives and their well-being and their even their mental state, dude. Because it's got to be a battle in your mind. It's got to be a complete war in your brain, whether should I or shouldn't I. You know what I mean? I feel like until you do
100%.
Door, it's a constant battle, and that weighs on people, man. That weighs on people hard.
It does. I'll get back to WWP in a second, but just to, and I hate to bring it up because it's a dark light of it, but covering all grounds, a lot of people, man, don't realize when you, and I hate to use it because it's used so much, bully somebody simply being who they are.
Right.
That, suicide, man, suicide is a real fucking thing, dude. When somebody bullies or treats somebody like crap simply because they love different, it affects people mentally, man. Like you said, it affects people. It weighs on them. Like, do I even fucking want to be here anymore?
Exactly,
Luckily,
man.
I was just gonna say, luckily, I didn't have to have that to deal with because, like I said, my family accepted it. But not everybody does. Not everybody's family does, man.
I don't see how people do it, man. I got 3 kids, 13, 14, 13, and 5. And I do not see how people there. I don't think there's nothing in the world that could make me turn my back on any of my children, dude. Not nothing in the world. I don't think they could do. They could murder me and I'd just be dead, because I mean, I don't think there's nothing they could do that would make me turn my back on one of my kids. And I don't see how people do it, man. I just don't.
I got a 15-year-old daughter, man, and she lives with her mom's. She lives with her mom and her mom's grandparents, and her grandpa doesn't want her around me because of me being gay.
And that don't make no damn sense.
But I promise, man. He told her something was said. He was like, "Oh, he's gay. He can't raise a kid." She goes, "First of all, what the hell sense does that make?"
Like that shit's gonna rub off on you, like you gonna show up at a show with some gay dudes, and when you leave, like, oh shit.
I promise, man. It makes no sense. And but the whole thing of it is, with like that's one reason that I wanted to create WWP. And when RWE, closed their doors for a while, I didn't know if they were going. I'm not, I didn't know if they were going to open back up anytime soon. I knew they were looking for a
Right.
building, but I got with one of my friends, DJ Mike Thompson, and
Okay.
we put our heads together. And August of last year, we pulled the trigger and done our first show, and it was a success. And I was like, okay, if it's a dud, hey, at least I tried, And
Right.
on average, knock on wood, on average, we do one a month. Our crowds have been 100 or more every time.
Man, I try to catch whatever little snidbits of footage I can when y'all do shows. Because, see, I really didn't know a lot about it, dude. I didn't know you were a part owner in it. I had no idea about none of that.
Yes, sir.
That's one of the things I wanted to get you on here and talk about because, look, for what I do, I like to know about all these different wrestling companies. I need to know enough about them to at least sound like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and dude, I've seen some of the footage, man. Y'all draw good crowds. I've seen snid bits, but from what I've seen, looks like the atmosphere is real good. The fans are into the show, and it looks like it's a highly entertaining show, dude.
Well, December 30th, I don't know if you remember Quincy Elliott from NXT, WWE NXT.
I don't.
The Super
dude.
Diva. December 30th, they go as the Super Diva Quincy Ellie now. It's a non-binary wrestler. I forgot, my damn mind went blank. That out of California, and their pronouns are they or them. We brought them in December 30th. I mean, we had a good crowd for them, and in bumfuck Egypt, of 100 and something rednecks, we're out there chanting pride.
There you go. That right there proves to you, man. I mean, here's the thing. Me and another guy, I had Johnny Dotson on a few weeks ago, and we were talking about race and how people. Here's the thing. A lot of times people will act like and say a lot of things because that's what they think they need to do to fit in with other people, with the quote unquote the society. And really, you find out a lot of times if you get personal with a lot of these people, you find out that it's just it's a way, a coping mechanism for them to survive. You know what I mean? It's kind of like going to jail and sticking with your own race. You think, well, I guess I better be over here because I can't be over here when, it's a different thing, man. And for them to chant pride like that, dude, that shows you right there that the door is open, man. And the minds are open. Here's the thing: the minds are open.
I know it's been said hundreds of times, not on here tonight, but you hear it all the time. Hate is taught. Nobody is born to hate.
Right.
It's taught, and it's kind of like to tell you the funny part, man, is wrestling with pride. I am the only gay or bisexual wrestler on the roster.
Dude, I was going to ask that question because, see, I didn't understand. I understood the concept and with the name,
right?
And I was going to ask you that was this, which I've seen some of the talent on there, so I knew that everybody wasn't gay, but I was going to ask you that how this how the company was kind of put together and the talent. I'm glad you said that, dude. Man, save me a question. Save me from looking like a dumbass.
No, you wouldn't have, man. It's because we had like I said, we had Quincy Ellie. We're in talks with some more LGBTQ wrestlers to come in, and when my mind just went blank, man. It's the fact of what makes me feel really good is I know each and every person on the roster. I know them personally, basically.
Right.
Hell, I've ran into them over the 22 years I've been doing it. It's crazy, man, because like I said, everybody on the roster is friends of mine, but I'm the only gay or bisexual wrestler on the roster. But that right there shows me, like you said, minds are open, doors are open. And, you know, one thing that I love about one of the and I'll say it, one of the, two of the companies, not one, the two companies that we work with is MCW. Some of their talent comes to us, and TNR
Right.
Wrestling. I know it's been said a lot too, man. If the damn companies could work together,
Never happened, man. Never happened.
it'd be so much better.
They'll never do it.
I'll say it, and there is a company, and I will call them out by name because they're homophobic pieces of shit. Sorry, I got riled up there. There was a company, there was a guy messaged me and Thompson wanting to work together. And I was like, I'm all about it, 100%. Because that's far and few in between that you can find two companies that want to work together.
Right.
And I'll be damned, man. Buster, not even 2 hours after we got off the phone, this man was posting homophobic and transphobic posts on Facebook.
After y'all somewhat agreeing to work together. Dude, it is what it is, man.
So
that's the business, man.
I called Thompson right back. And you're 100% right. Because I was like, I called Thompson. I said, you can cancel that shit, bro. And he was like, what do you mean? And I showed him, and he was like, wow. And his name, I'll tell you the company, because I hate the man. Well, I don't say I hate the man. It's just I will never do business with him. It's that Southern Wrestling Alliance out of Batesville, Arkansas.
See, I've seen a few and far between, a couple of little flyers ever so often. I don't really know anything about this company, dude, whatsoever.
Well, and normally, man, I'll be the first to tell you, man, normally I don't name somebody by name. I really don't, because it's a lot of times it's pointless. But I feel this is something I have to call out, man, because you want to call and talk to a man for 45 minutes to an hour on the phone about working together and promoting, but then you go on Facebook 2 hours later and you bash and you talk shit about exactly what this promotion is trying to promote.
Right. It don't make no fucking sense whatsoever,
at all. Like one thing I pride myself on, and I'm sure you've known over the years, is I can get along with just about anybody in the locker room. I can work with anybody in the ring. That's one thing I pride myself on. But don't take advantage of me. That's my thing. Don't make me look like a fool, because first of all, I do well enough for that on my own on a daily. But don't make me look like a fool, because I promise I'm gonna make you look like a fool, 10 times worse.
Right. Man, you talking about in ring, man. Look, one of the most talented guys in the ring around here. There's no doubt about that. But here's something else. I don't know if people know.
Thank you,
man. Back when you were booking a lot of ASWF, man. Back when, man, it was hard for me to watch any wrestling, especially any independents around our area, because
Are you talking about right before COVID hit, right?
Maybe even a little before that, dude. But I would watch.
I booked Talking Man for about 4 years.
I would watch ASWF, like going through YouTube, and I'd see ASWF stuff come up, man. And it's some of the only wrestling at that time that if I stopped on it, I caught myself watching the whole match, or even more matches, like go from that one to the next one. And the one thing I noticed, and I didn't know you was booking at that time, but man, highly creative dude.
Thank you.
In the wrestling business. And here's the thing, I don't think people understand that creativity really is what rules the wrestling business. That's what makes it happen. Whoever is the absolute best and the most creative, that's what sets the trends in the wrestling business. And no doubt, dude, at that time I wasn't watching any. Really, I would try to watch a lot of local shows and stuff. And at the time, it was a stagnated, weird time that really nothing was any good. But ASWF, during the time you were booking, I could find myself watching those matches from start to finish and being drawn into them by the creativity that was going on with the show, man. Talk to me about booking and being able to use that kind of creativity, man.
Well, first of all, thank you. That means more than you'll ever know. And I say that genuinely because I have nothing but respect for you and Sam Dollar. You know, I've known both y'all my entire career, and the fact that you just said that, man, that means more than you'll ever know. So thank you.
Oh, it's
Um,
returned from us, dude. Your dad too, man. Dirty Little
yeah,
Dave, highly respected. Me and Sam, we've been
yeah,
around I've been around Dirty Little Dave since I damn started. You know, but
right.
really, dude,
Um,
you're one of the most
thank
creative
you.
guys
Um,
in the wrestling business, man. So talk to me about
one
that.
thing, one thing that I've noticed, and I'm sure you'll agree with, is it is so hard, first and foremost, to find something that nobody's done.
Right,
It's
it's almost
100% hard.
impossible.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll give credit to where credit's due. There was two guys that I had helping me, and they were my I don't want to say helpers, but they helped me book. You know, they helped me with some of my ideas or tweak or come help pitch new ideas. That was Josh Cross and Draven Morrow, Cataclysm. I'll
Man,
give
and
them two
here's the
guys the
thing,
prop.
man. You need people like that because
Yes.
look, here's the thing. You might have an idea in your head, and so you go to tell it to
100%.
somebody, and then when you're telling them, that kind of sparks something in their head, and they might add something
Hmm.
to this. Say, well, hey, what if we added this here to this you've already
Right.
got? And then the next dude says, well, shit, what about this too on the end of that? And before you know it,
100%.
you need people you can that you're good at bouncing ideas back and forth off of in the wrestling business,
100%.
because that's why the car rides were always the way all the best angles and shit were brought up, because guys just
Right.
riding back and forth, tossing around different ideas.
And one, that's like exactly wrestling with pride. You know, Josh Cross and Colton Cash. They're my two guys that we bounce ideas off each other. But the way that I was able to do it, man, is one thing I always tell my crew, my roster, whatever you want to call it, is, man, don't ever be afraid to come and pitch ideas to me.
Right.
Now, I'll tell you, I may not use it or I may tweak it, but don't ever be afraid, because we're all in this together. Um, and just because you have an idea, and if you have an idea, just because I don't think it'll work with your angle doesn't mean that I can't tweak it and work it over here in a different angle.
Right.
And one thing I pride myself on too, and you know this, because you know me for years, I'm not afraid to push the envelope with something.
Right. I think that's one
And
thing that's wrong
sometimes,
with. I think that's
go
one thing
no,
that's
yeah, go ahead.
wrong with wrestling right now, is that, man, it's so, everybody's so thin skinned, man. You can't go out and do what wrestling was designed to do. If you don't come to a fucking wrestling show if you worried about being offended, because that's what the bad guy's job is. Whether they offend you by
100%.
beating the shit out of your favorite baby face, or whether they offend you by calling you fat and ugly or whatever, that's their job.
Man,
That's what they do.
I was at TNR a couple weeks ago. I'll say this, and then I'll finish explaining, about ASWF. I walked out. I'm heel at TNR, and I walked out, and this woman all of a sudden looked me straight in my eyes, and before I realized what she done, she looked at me and said, "You stupid faggot." And at first, I'm not gonna lie, at first it pissed me off, for real.
Right.
So I get in her face, I get in her face, I'm starting mouthing back and forth, and before I realized what I said, I looked at her husband, I said, "Bro, you might want to get your bitch back in line."
What was the look on his face, man?
Oh, he tried to flip the table and come around it. But by that time I was already calmed down, because I was like, okay, dumbass, this is your job to piss them off.
Exactly. And here's something else too. As a heel, as a wrestler, period, no matter what they say to you, you can't really take it personally, because that they pay their money, and that's part of that's part of their freedom of once they buy that ticket, they got the right to yell at you, cuss at you, call you names if they want to. That's their freedom. Like we said from the start, just don't cross the line, just don't touch me. You know what I mean?
It is so crazy because 99% of the time I usually don't let what they say bother me. I don't know what it was about that night. It just like when we was arguing back and forth, we got in each other's ear, each other's face. Tables were going flying, water bottles, they were throwing them at us, get in the back, and we're all, kind of like you used to back in the day, we got in the back, we was like, hell yeah, man, that was fun. I can't, I'm ready to go back out there. But,
Right.
that's kind of like go back, that brings me right back to ASWF. I wasn't afraid to push the envelope, straddle that line. And because you may have an angle over here that comedy will work in, and an angle here where just the old school heel beating the shit out of the baby face will work.
Right.
But over here, you got two guys that can make it as personal as possible, and not get mad at each other for things.
Right.
That are said on the microphone or whatever. I'll give you an example. Mike Anthony.
Right.
I had an angle with Mike Anthony at one time, and I was giving me and Mike rather were giving creative control over that angle. And I was the heel, he was the baby, and what was said on the microphone is he was walking off, and it was a known topic that he was going through a divorce, and his kids were with his wife. Well, we were sitting in the back, and I was trying to figure out. We was trying to, spitball ideas back and forth. And Mike was like, "Man, why don't you say this on the microphone?" And I was like, "Are you sure?" Because out of respect, you don't want to cross that line.
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah, man, say it." So I get out there on the microphone, and I'm like, that's the whole reason your wife took your kids, and they're probably calling somebody else daddy right now.
Oh, you had to throw that in, huh? You couldn't just tell me, man, that's why your wife left you and took your kids, man.
Yeah. And when I said that, the crowd went silent, and you could hear people in the crowd say, "Oh shit." And sometimes, and this is something that I preach too, man, because there's sometimes people be like, "Man, I didn't get no reaction." I'm like, dude, sometimes silence is your best reaction.
Right.
And a lot of, and I'm not dogging them, but a lot of young kids nowadays think that the crowd's got to be hyped the entire time. But at the same time, if they're quiet, sometimes if they're quiet, they're paying attention.
Right. All you got to do is look at them. If there's dead silence, but ain't nobody getting up going to the concession stand and all eyes are on the ring, then you have them people right there. You have them right where you want them. It's the rest of it's up to you. You can lose them if you want to, or you can carry it on in, but you have them.
And it's like, one thing, and I've been guilty of it, so I'm not going to blame nobody. One thing is some people think, oh, I got to go out here and do 30 minutes. You ain't got to do 30 minutes every night.
Right.
They're like, I'll tell you, man, one of the best reactions was one of the shortest matches I ever had in my life. And that match lasted 30 seconds.
Dude, I'll be honest.
I don't know if you remember a guy, but
go ahead, Ray.
Go ahead.
Well,
I was going to say, I don't know if you remember a guy by the name of Johnny Harper.
The name sounds familiar as hell, dude.
He used to run with Phil Hansen and all them.
Man, the name sounds familiar. I didn't work for Phil Hansen and them but a few times up in Batesville. Okay. I say a few, a handful. Yeah. But the name sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, okay. Well, he was old school. He was a vet at the time, but our match lasted 30 seconds, and it got one of the biggest pops I ever got in my life by simply not one bump was thrown, not one punch was thrown. It was a schoolboy. That was it.
Right. And like I was going to say, man, I'd rather see a solid action-packed 5-minute match than a 15 or 20-minute match where 10 or 15 minutes of it really wasn't worth a shit, I mean, it's always been, look, you can drag that shit out and lose the fans, or you can cut it a little shorter and give them more action and tell your story and give them something to go home thinking about, or they can go home 15, 20 minutes later thinking, man, that fucking match there, I had high hopes for that shit. About the first 3 or 4 minutes was awesome, but after that, it went to shit, you know. Much better to, you ain't got to worry about getting all your shit in every match, because when you go to telling stories, you only do what you need to do to further that story.
Right. You know, an example of that, man, a perfect example of that, honestly, is one of my favorite people to step in the ring. Well, two of my favorite people to step in the ring with is Insane Shane and Josh Cross. Insane Shane, because he's the, what you call it, the flippity flop. He can do it all.
Right.
I used to be able to do more, flip flops. Now I'm broken down 41-year-old man that, I tell a better story through being a heel in action,
Right.
Me and Shane are so used to doing, one-offs or pop-up shows that we go out there. We're not, I say nonstop. We do more shit in a 15 to 20 minute match. Versus we had an angle in Osceola at MCW where we were going to have a 4 to 5 week angle.
Right.
You go out there and do a 10, 15 minute match, 8 to 10, 15 minute match where you got one huge spot. And then the next week you say, I say same thing, but different spots, but then, oh crap, you got this other big thing.
Right.
Whereas you work it up and you're in a cage match for the blow off, which is what we ended up doing. The blow off match was a cage match where, by God, we just hung it all out on the line.
Right. You got to
give them
tell your story in stair steps, And here's the thing, Moondog was the world's worst about telling guys, stop going out there, because all young guys want to do it. Every young guy in the world wants to go out there and try to show everything they can possibly do in every match. And guys would come to the back, and Dog's like, dude, you're coming back next week. You and this guy are wrestling each other again. What are you going to show them people next week that you didn't show them this week? They're like,
right.
And he's like, yeah, because you did it all. Don't do everything you can do in one match. Kind of save some shit to surprise people sometimes,
And I'll be the first to admit, man, I used to be one of the world's worst. Think I had to do every damn thing I knew in one match. I used to be the world's worst. What they call me back? What they call them back? Spot monkeys.
There you go, man.
I used to be on the list of spot monkey, man. And that's one thing, that I'm happy about and I pride myself on is I feel like I've evolved over the years because, I went out, I can go out there with Shane, do the flippity flop bullshit, or I can work a match like you seen down in Osceola not long ago. I think it was me and Derek King that worked that night.
Yes.
We were opener, man, and
Derek's all about the story. He's all about the story, man. I'm the same way, dude. Look, man,
100%.
I love going out and telling the story, man. When I was young, when you're young, just getting in, you want to get in the ring and wrestle, man. Yes. But man, as I got older and got smarter and more experienced to kind of what the business is really about, man, I love going out and just furthering a story, telling the story to the fans. Because look, you can get a pop off of damn near anything with fans. You can do a move and you can get them to pop. But man, when you go out there and you get them invested in what you're doing and you can see that, then you go to the back after you've accomplished your goal, man. It's such a bigger satisfaction. You're like, man, that's the art of pro wrestling. That right there to me is the art of pro wrestling. Being able to draw them fans in, have them invest in you and what you're doing to the point where you're evoking real emotions out of these people, man.
Yeah,
that's my favorite part of wrestling.
100%, because that right there, I think, goes hand in hand with the difference in heat. because, like you said, you get them invested in you, and they want to hate. They come to see you get your ass whooped
Right.
if you're heel. But there's a different type of heat, and that's that go away heat, where they just want you to get. They don't want you to go to the back for the night. They just want you to leave forever.
Dude, Jeff
You know,
Jarrett, when he first left
yes,
to go to WWF, look, Lawler
yeah,
left, but Lawler always come back. When Brian got to leave, he always come back. When Jeff left, once he left, he was gone for several years. And man, through that time, WWE would run some shows at the Coliseum, spot shows here and there. And man, I'll be honest with you, Jeff had go away heat around our area until probably, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years ago, even, dude. I've never seen people turn on it. It wasn't just normal heel heat. It was like, we do not like you. You turned your back on us. And it took probably 20 years for him to shake that around here. I mean, that's from my perspective, man. It was a totally different thing, dude.
I love, now don't get me wrong, I love getting heat. I love getting somebody riled up, like where they actually still want, a lot of the guys nowadays just want that heat to get booed, I love the old school heat where they motherfuckers want to fight me.
Right. I want them to want to shoot me.
Yes. Example, man, TIWF, me and Josh Cross were over there, man. Like, I had this man so riled up, and they were like, man, you might want to be careful, dude, because this dude's like, I'll see you out back, motherfucker. And they were like, dude, be careful. He carries a ball bat. And I was like, me and Josh both were like, I hope he can get to his car before we get to ours. He carries a ball bat. We got a 9 in the car.
There you go.
But, I didn't have mine. Josh had his. But, we were still carrying, because hell, it was a 3-hour trip away from home.
Right.
But, it's that a lot of people get into it just quote unquote, the fame, the rats, whatever. Man, this is a passion for me. This isn't a hobby. This is something that I've tried to walk away from. I can't. It's an addiction. It's my drug now.
Look, I in 2007, I left and I did a little comeback for a couple months. In 2009, me and Ron got together and we were tossing around the idea of making a comeback, but I just wasn't into it. When we came back a couple months in, I told Ron, I said, man, I'm just not into it. I was waiting on my first daughter to be born. So, right. When you had your first kids, you got shit going through your head, no matter how old you were, because I was 35 years old when I had her, dude. But you still, it unlocks different shit, You go to not having to just worry about you and your old lady to now you've got a real responsibility, And yeah. I wasn't into it. And dude, I stayed away until 2019 or 20 when I came back and started filming, and which evolved into what we're doing here, man. But you cannot stay away if you really love this business. You cannot stay away. And here's the thing: you're talking about passion. Look, if you're still doing this after this many years at this level, you got to have the passion for it. Yes, because you're not getting rich. You're not making a living at it. You're not paying your bills with it. You have to love it, dude. You have to.
And that's perspective of big timers, big names, whatever you want to call them. We all know Brock Lesnar does it for the money. He don't do it for the passion.
Right.
Somebody that you can see that done it for the passion is, and I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this, was Cena.
Right, he still does it for the passion. I think he's still.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I think. Look, you can't turn down the opportunities and the thing Cena's doing now, just like The Rock. But I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I feel like Cena would still love to be exclusive to the WWE and still love to be there every show, dude. But that's few and far between with certain guys. Most of us get in the business because we love this business. 99% of us, we get in this because we loved it from a kid. We growed up loving it. It was the dream to be a wrestler. Other guys, like you say, Brock, it was just the right opportunity to make a shitload of money and not have to work a real job. Do I think Brock has grown an appreciation for the business? I absolutely do, because he's made enough money. If he really didn't want to do it at all, I don't think he would be. So I think he has grown an appreciation for it, but still, when you're getting offered the kind of money he gets,
oh yeah,
hey, dude, I'll come out right now if they want to pay me. Hey, I'll show up right now, fat as fuck, looking all blowed up and out of shape, if they want to pay me Brock Lesnar money, dude.
No, I agree with you, man. He like you said, I think at the beginning, I do agree with you. At the beginning, it was more of right place, right time to make to do something that he liked doing. I wouldn't say he was passionate about it at the time, but
right.
Natural ability. And like you said, he grew to appreciate the business, but at the same time, I don't think he was 100% into it. It's the downfall is guys. There's some of the guys that's made it, so to speak, that didn't have a lick of damn talent.
That's just the rad business, man.
That's what I'm saying. They had the looks, they had the body, and they had the charisma. They didn't have the talent, in-ring talent. But then you got some guys on the indie circuit that have every bit of it: the talent, the ability, the size, the look, whatever, charisma. They're either a couple of things: they're too small, or the right eyes hasn't hit them yet.
And that's the hook. I don't think most people realize that no matter how talented you are, wrestling's still built on connections you make with other wrestlers, other promoters, other bookers, other whoever, peers in the wrestling business. That's where most opportunities actually come from. Most opportunities. Now, it's a big plus if you get the right opportunity and you got the everything, the package, the talent, the ability, the skill, then hey, but still yet, a lot of times it takes having a certain connection with somebody who can open that door for you, who can 100%. Bring that opportunity to fruition for you, man. And I don't think guys, I think a lot of times guys sometimes think that their talent alone is gonna help them make it in this business. And man, like you said, there's been many super talented guys that didn't have the careers that less talented guys did have. It's a weird business, man.
People. I'll give you two people, man, that I think could have and should have made it if the right eyes would have set on them back in their day, and that was the East Coast Bad Boys.
Yeah, man. And here's the thing: when they first hit here, they were different than. They were doing different shit than what most people down here done. They were really a couple of the first guys to come in and do a lot of the high flying moves. I mean, sure, there's been guys doing back then. Crossbody off the top rope or missile drop kick was kind of, that was the high spot. That was your high flying move. They come in doing flips and all kind of shit over the rope out to the floor. Yeah, I can see that, man. Look, you, man, like you said, your career, dude, when you were young, I mean, you did all that shit, man. You wasn't scared to fly around. Like I said, you're one of the very most talented guys in the ring. And you said a while ago that 41, dude, I just turned 50. I didn't actually think me and you was that close in age. I thought you was a little younger than that, dude. 41, and look.
No, I just turned 41. Well, September, I'll be 42.
I just turned 50 in January here, man. I never thought I'd make 50, dude, but here I am, man. But look,
man,
talking about how it is for a 40-year-old guy in the wrestling ring, and this weekend, you got hey, look, you ain't just a booker this weekend. You got two matches coming up and two serious matches. I've got a couple of graphics. You want to pull them up and we'll talk about these matchups?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we'll go ahead and start with Friday night, I guess.
Yeah, we'll start with the MCW, man. This is a matchup I'm interested in, dude. you and Kilo, man. Dude, this right here has the potential to be the show stealer of the night right off the bat, man. Talk to me about.
Man, I'll give you some. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, well, just talk to me about how we got to this match and this match and your thoughts on facing Kilo this Friday, man.
Well, man, I'll be honest with you, dude. You were mentioning somewhere earlier something when we were OSCW when Tony was it Tony Stone?
Tony Stone, yeah.
Yeah, man. That's where I first met Kilo.
Okay.
And it's crazy because the reason I say that, bring that up is just a couple of weeks ago was the first time that I ever worked Kilo in a one-on-one.
No shit.
Yes.
Dude, I was just fixing to say, man, I'm assuming you guys have probably wrestled each other several times, if not dozens, but damn.
We've had 2 singles matches. That's it.
That's crazy, man.
And one thing I love about working with Kilo is, we had the same goal in mind to start off, and that's to tell a story and get the match over. We got the same goal in mind, and literally 95% of our match is walk and talk.
Right.
And, now don't get me wrong. I can sit there and I can call a match from open to end in the back. I can do it. I prefer not to, because one thing, me and Kilo, we've worked a couple of times, is the fact of we understand that you may have that damn match from open to end, but once you get out there, the crowd's not into what you're doing. You've got to change it.
Exactly. That shit can change on the fly. Need to change.
Yes. Like, I'll tell you, man, a spot, and I'll give all credit to Kilo because that fucker called it out there last weekend, matter of fact. He goes, man, we were laying there selling, man. We'll get up. He goes, Batman rope, shoot me off, go for a backdrop. I'll kick you. I'll go for a super kick, catch my foot, throw it down. When I bend over, DDT me.
Kilo's a hell of a talented dude, man.
Man, it went so smooth. And
it's good when you can. Here's the thing about calling everything in the back. Here's the problem with that, man, and I see it all the time. Guys who do that, like you said, they go out there and either the crowd's not buying it and they don't know what to do, so they just stick with what they're doing, or they go out there and somebody blows one of the spots, and you can tell it just throws their whole fucking match off from that point on. It's like they don't know how to recover from that, and being able to go out there and just do it on the fly is how you learn that, man.
Well, you hit it right on the head. They don't know how to recover from it. And tell me correct me if I'm wrong. I probably am. I've been known to be wrong a couple times. One of the things they automatically go to is they'll sell for a few seconds, if that, sit there for a few seconds, and go right back to the same spot they just blew.
Exactly the same way, everything the same. All the time, dude. I see it all the time.
And you're like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, I may go back to it. If I blow a spot, I may go back to it, but I'll do something else beforehand.
In between, take 60, 90 seconds, do something else, and then you can slide right back into that spot, and people's done forgotten. They don't know. They don't know that ain't what you
exactly.
I mean, dude, I see that all the time, and it's I think working on the fly is a lost art.
It is, man. Like I said, a couple weeks ago was the first time I'd ever worked Kilo. We've had 3 matches. One of them was a single. No, 4. One was a singles, then we've had 2 tags, and then we did another singles this past weekend for a benefit show. And dude, stepping in there with Kilo is so refreshing. And the reason that I say that is simply because 90% of the time I work young guys, and I don't not normally do this, but I'll toot my own horn. you know, they some people want a quote unquote, a vet, and I'm still not used to calling myself a vet. A vet, to be in there with some of these young guys, but they want a vet that can go with the young guys,
Right. I
and
think I
that's
think
something that
you've
I still
earned,
pride myself on.
I think you've earned that. I think you've earned that moniker, dude. You, like I said, you've been doing this basically your whole damn life, man. I think you
I
earned the
remember
right.
wrestling out in the front yard with nobody but myself.
I think you've earned the right to use the V word, man. I'll be honest with you.
I appreciate that, man.
So look, give me your prediction for. I know this is a stupid question because obviously, I mean, surely you're going to pick you, but talk to me about how you think this matchup will play out this coming Friday. And let me ask you this: is there what is the issue and what is the goal here? Is there anything on the line during this matchup?
There's nothing on the line during this matchup. The goal to this match, and because the show is called Unmasked here, so I'll tell you where we're headed with it. Where we're headed with it is we're going to end up having a street fight, I guess you could say is what you want to call it. So like last Friday tag match, me and 911 versus Kilo and Don Montana. You've seen the damn shoes that 187 wears.
Right.
I went to hit Kilo with one, and the damn thing bent over and laid him open for hard way right here. And I felt horrible, because you never want to hurt somebody on purpose. And getting it back, he's like, "Damn it, Ray! 27 years I've been doing this shit, bro. That's the first time I ever been hard way." And I'm like, "Shit, I don't ever. That's not the first I want to be. Damn it."
There you go.
But he was like, "Yeah, nah, man, it's cool." So this weekend, I'm gonna predict myself going over. I don't care if I got to screw job it. I'm going over. Damn it.
I kind of figured that would be the prediction, man. But look, if you make it through Friday night unscathed, dude, Saturday night, man, wrestling with pride, dude. Let me get this graphic.
Yes,
you got
sir.
a hell of a match coming up, dude.
Yes,
let's pull this up and let's discuss this matchup here, man. All right, Love Struck this Saturday night, wrestling with pride, death match. So talk to me about this death match, dude.
First of all, Casino, you remember him back with Tasker, and you remember Casino Kid?
Oh yeah.
That's Casino.
Okay. I kind of thought that, but I didn't know because it's been so long since I've seen any of these guys.
Yeah.
But I kind of had an idea.
This is a story we've been building since September of last year. I was going to end up having a death match. Yes, I was going to end up having a death match with Christian Cross, but I ended up breaking my leg, so I had to take some time off. But with Christian, some shit happened, and Christian and Wrestling with Pride had to go our separate ways. And so I slid Casino into that story, and I was sitting back in the back with him, and I was like, man, ultimately I want to end up in a death match with whoever I put in this storyline. And I know Casino will do it because me and him's worked hardcore matches before.
Right.
But the difference in this one is one, and I'm not dogging people when I say this, but not a lot, some people in Arkansas, some promotions, whatever we'll call it, they'll promote a death match. But when it comes down to it, it's just a glorified it's just a hardcore match they're doing.
I see that, dude. I see that all.
This is actually a death match. There's light tubes. There's barbed wire. There's ball bats, thumbtacks. It's an actual death match. I tried to talk the guys that we get the ring from into me let me remove the ropes and replace them with barbed wire, but they wouldn't let me do it. And it's an actual death match, and like I said, long term storytelling, man, is you know MCW does it because they're able to do it they do it week to week. They're able to do it.
Right.
A lot of these shows that pop up once a month, they don't really do a lot of storytelling because they're like, oh man, people's going to forget. They can. That's true. They can, but at the same time, you can't let them forget it.
Right.
So that's the advantage to social media, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. You got to keep their minds refreshed with it. You know, I'm in a group chat with a bunch with the roster, with the guys from the show, and I'm calling, me and DJ Mike T both, and some of the rest. Hey guys, come on, let's push this, promote, share. Yes, it's the promoter's job, but at the same time, it's your job to promote yourself.
Exactly.
And I say, we've had great crowds, but it's not just because of me and DJ Mike T promoting. It's the workers promoting themselves too. And I'll say it right there. You see them. What do you call it? The match card match. I have a guy that does. That's all he. I mean, he works too, but that's what he does for me. I pay.
Yeah.
The show pays him. He makes my match cards because he's good at it. I suck at it.
Right. Look,
So,
a good flyer goes a long way, man. I see so many flyers that just the guys are all just piled up on top of each other, and then if you really go to looking, you can see where somebody's half-ass cut the guys out and shit, and you see the little outline of them. And man, I'll be honest with you, when you put those flyers out, I mean, you're right there. It's an advertisement for your company, and man, you're giving people a bad impression. Do you really think some of these cards I look at, I think, man, that wouldn't make me want to go see this show? And it ain't really got nothing to do with the talent, because some of them I'm talking about has got some killer talent on it, but the cards themselves just they just don't look good, man. They're not appealing. Let me say it like that. They're not appealing.
Yeah. That's one thing, I'm not, but let me put this disclaimer out there. I'm by no means comparing WWP to WWE. But you got WWE that they got a guy that does nothing but their graphics. That's all he does. He doesn't wrestle. He doesn't do nothing. He makes whatever he makes, thousands a year, $100,000 a year, whatever. That's all he does because he has to do so many. Then here it is with WWP. One of my workers, he makes the flyers and the match cards for me, but I don't expect him to do it for free, and that's with a lot of the guys, not guys but shows now, they expect these people to do it for them for free. They get these people, a buddy, that'll do it for them for free, and then you get the cards like you're talking about where it literally looks like it's cut and paste.
It is pretty much, man. It's a good card goes a long way. A good professional flyer goes a long way to drawing fans into your wrestling show. So, man, Love Struck this Saturday night. Look, we got about 15 more minutes. So, kind of run us down some of the other things we're going to see Saturday night at Wrestling with Pride, dude.
It's funny you say that. Right before we got on air, I was writing out the card.
There you go.
I was looking at the card. You remember old Rodney Mack when he had his Jonesboro show, Chaos the Gorilla?
Right.
We got Chaos the Gorilla is going to be there, bringing in somebody for a guy that I've never seen. Well, I've seen videos of him, but I've never met him in person. Big John G. He's coming in to face Chaos the Gorilla. We'll have a 4-way number one contenders match for number one contender for the heavyweight title, or championship or title. That's going to consist of Cody Bryan, Josh Cross, Triple J, and Oni. Yeah, Oni. You know, we're having a 4-way match for that. Then you got, I don't know if you remember this guy. You remember Steve-O, Stephen Parker.
Right, yeah. Yes.
He'll be there. He's taking on his own son, Eli Parks.
There you go. Father and
Father
son
versus
match
son.
up.
Yes. And then you remember old Lee Michaels,
Right.
the pissed off garden gnome. He'll be
Look,
there.
hold on, man. Look, I had a little deal with him at NWF. Now look, he's a talented fucking kid in the ring. There's no doubt, man. And
100%.
he's got some charisma. But man, at that, I don't know if he's changed, but at that time he did not want to listen whatsoever. Period. And dude, and he likes death match stuff too, because that's the thing. At NWF, you know, he immediately wanted to do matches with tax, and I'm like, dude, that ain't even what they do. I don't even know if they'll ever let you do that. You know what I mean? But overall, I know. Look, I know he don't like me, but overall, we had a little thing in Paraguay one night. But he's a talented guy in the ring, dude. You can't take nothing away from him on that. He's just a little hard headed, man. He's just hard headed. Other than
I
that,
will
dude,
say he's changed on the listening part. I mean, he's still a little stubborn. You know, he'll tell you what he wants to do, and then, you know, you pitch what you want to do, and then you know he's got where he'll work with you. But you know, it's kind of like you said, man. The very first run-in me and him had, I say run-in, the very first interaction me and him ever had, it turned into a little physicality. It was a mistake happened in the ring, and it turned into a little bit more than a work. And I was going through some tough times, and he was going through some tough times, and we both just lost our shit. And we get in the back, and I'm like, dude, come up here on Saturdays before the show. I'll work with you, blah blah blah. And he's like, he said something smart, and then Jamie J, Johnny Morton, they all had to jump in between us in the locker room, and I ended up leaving that company and going down to ASWF about a couple months later, and he was down there. I walked in and I was like, ah, shit. You know, here we go again. And I looked at the card and it said Ray versus Lee Michaels. I said, these motherfuckers is trying me hard tonight.
They did this on purpose. They set this shit up.
So I go over there, I look at him, you know, and I'm like, look, bro, they got us working each other now, man. We got to squash this. You know, if we want to have a match that's worth the shit, we got to squash it and go out there and work together. Right. And man, ever since then, we've been able to go out and work it, man. You know, but one thing, like you said, man, I love about Lee is he's got the charisma. It's going to be hard to find somebody that will match his charisma in the ring, whether he's a baby or a heel.
Right, and he's like a mad ass Boston Terrier or something, man. He's a small guy. He got the big beard, but man, he puts all pit bull vibes in a Chihuahua body almost, dude.
Something man, I say to him every damn time I see him, you don't have to yell the entire promo.
Like
you know, I love you to death, Lee, but and I'll be damned. He shoots a promo to promote the show we got coming up, and he did not yell one damn time.
He's listening. There you go. He's listening to you.
I was like, oh, sweetness. Calm, can get it over. But then you got Insane Shane. Well, first of all, Lee's going to be, I don't know if you've ever heard of Red James out of Texas or Oklahoma.
I hadn't.
He goes as the foreman, Red James. He's taking on Lee. And then Insane Shane will be there. We've got a total of 6 or 7 matches, and that's one thing. You know, I've heard people say, "Man, you only need 4 or 5 matches, man." That can be true if you're on a weekly show.
Right.
We're on a monthly show, and I give my guys 6 to 7 matches. You know, total. Everybody's got it's a total 6 or 7 matches. We start at 7 o'clock. We're done by 10.
Dude, I remember when 8 matches were really were kind of the set standard. 8 matches. Of course,
Yeah.
out of them 8 matches, the first 3 might not. I mean, the whole first 3 matches might not take up, but shit, 30, 40 minutes of the show,
30 minutes.
if that, because you're talking 8,
Yeah.
10-minute matches here and there. But I remember when 8 match
Yeah.
cards were the standard, dude.
Yeah, but like, not dogging him by any means, but I remember 2 years ago we had RWE had WrestleFest. We had 10 damn matches on the card.
That's one
And
of them 2 days. You need to cut that in like WrestleMania. Break that shit into 2 days over 2 shows, man.
And the part, I mean, not that I hated it, it was a big thing, man. I mean, we had Rodney Mack there, we had Boogeyman, we had Jimmy Hart, we had Teddy
I remember
Long.
that, dude. I remember seeing some of the footage and stuff of that.
Man, I ended up working. Me and Shane worked the Young Goats from Memphis, and we were Maine. By the time Maine come around, I was like this.
Right.
I was just like ready to go. But
you can burn the fans out, man. You can definitely burn them out, man. I'd rather give them. I mean, even on a 5-match card, man, the first couple matches don't need to go over 8 to 10 minutes at the most each, man. Time you do 2 matches, an intermission, 2 matches, an intermission, and then your main. Even at
that's
5
how I've
matches.
been doing it. I mean, that's how I've been doing it. Like this one right here, I'll have 7 matches. I'll do 3 intermission, and then like 3 more intermission, and then my main. And the only reason I'm doing it like that this weekend is because right before the main, the main's the death match, of course.
Right.
We put a old ring mat down before we go out for that. I don't want to tear the new one.
Right.
And so, and something that I used to do, which I'm having to go back to not being able to do it anymore, is I used to, say, hey, go out there, give me a good match. And I used to let the guys time their own shit. But, and there's no offense to anybody, when they look at the card this weekend, they'll have time limits,
Right.
Give me a good 8 to 10, give me a good 10 to 12, And one thing that I think you'll agree with me on is the fact of the way I do mine, and this is where a lot of the guys, I guess, respect or appreciate, is I tell you who I want to go over, if I want a pinfall or some, screw job or whatever, so we can lead to the next thing. I give them creative freedom in their match.
Right.
But at the same time, if I see something that I think we could tweak a little bit, I'll be like, hey, I didn't care for this. Maybe if you did it this way, you can get the reaction that you were looking for. And, something that you, Dad, Dave, they used to do to us back in the day.
Well, I believe perimeters, Matt, look, guys need perimeters in their wrestling matches. They need time limits, because if they ever get anywhere where they're working on TV, they're going to have time cues to hit. They need to understand how to tell a story. Look, here's the same. You might have one story, and the same story over here, you might get 15 minutes to tell that same story over here. For some reason, maybe it's been cut down to 5 or 6, but you still got to kind of try to tell that same full story in those different parameters. And it's good for guys to have, it's good for guys to have parameters in their wrestling matches, because they need them.
A lot of young guys, when I say young guys, not really young guys that's never worked TV before. They don't understand, how the backstage works.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, you're standing behind the curtain, you got somebody standing there with you telling you when to go. And a lot of guys don't understand that, because they think I got this song. It gives me 30 seconds to go. Well, no, you got somebody there sitting there with a time clock. Go now.
Right.
And where, and I used to have this bad habit, man, is some shows will give you, oh, you got 15 minutes. A lot of the guys think that's 15 minutes when your bell rings. No, that's 15 minutes from the time you walk out the curtain to the time you walk back.
Exactly.
And a lot of guys, I'm not innocent by any means. I used to have a bad habit but I got to where I'd look at they tell me, oh, you got 15 minutes. Okay, is that 15 minutes from curtain to curtain or bell to bell? Because some guys tell me, or not some guys, some shows, or the book or whatever you want to call it, they talk different. You got to clarify. Right. If you want bell to bell or curtain to curtain. You remember Luke Graham Jr.
Right. Worked for Luke Graham a lot.
When I worked for him in Batesville, I love Luke Graham, dude. That man taught me a lot. When I worked for him in Batesville, if he told you a time limit, curtain to curtain.
Right.
But then I worked for Johnny Hawk. It was bell to bell. And,
used to, man,
you got to clarify.
Look, used to, different books had different styles of booking, but kind of the way the matches were worked and laid out and set up was kind of standard. Obviously different bookers do what you're doing in this, and the way they do stuff might be a little different, but it's just time limits, finishes, whatever. It was all pretty standard. And like you say now, it's like a hodgepodge because it's not like a standard in pro wrestling now, kind of across the board. It's all over the place now.
100%. 100%. That's something that I'm glad that I've learned over the years, is to be able, like I said earlier, is to be able to adapt. Because when you go, like you said, you don't have that same standard, that same blueprint across the board anymore. You've got different shows run different ways. And that's one thing that I'm glad I've been able to do, is adapt, to what that show needs. And now, don't get me wrong, man. There's times when I work a show and they're like, oh, man, just go out there and do what you want. My God, let's go have some fun.
Right.
But at the same time, we got to stay professional. We got to make it look good. And I never thought I'd be this disgruntled vet to say this part. On certain situations, I'm a tight worker.
Yeah, me too, Ray. Me too, man.
And you got these kids, and I say kids, you got, and I mean, some of them's older people. Lighten up, slow down. God damn, step it up, bro.
Well, the slow down I can live with, because I do see a lot of times people don't give their stuff room to breathe, but the lighten up.
Oh no, yeah.
Man, look, there's a difference in being nice and snug than there is potatoing somebody. It's just as simple as that, man. If it's got to be if it's got to touch me with a little impact for it to really look good, I'd rather that than it missed me by 6 fucking inches and I got to look like a dumbass either trying to sell it or don't sell it at all, because I won't sell shit. I'll be honest with you. You miss me with something, a super kick or something from 6-8 inches, I'm not going to sell that shit. I'm going to look at you. I'm just
100%.
But people, guys don't do that. Guys, a lot of guys they're going, they don't think about it. It's just instinct. When that kick comes, they sell it, and they don't take the time to see if it even let it connect or even get close enough to where it looks good. They just sell it, and if the guy throwing that kick's off some, you're sitting there selling. You done took a big bump. You're selling on a kick that everybody in the audience knew missed by a foot.
I worked, like I said, I worked dirt for a couple weeks in MCW, man, Osceola, and I got a bad habit if he's throwing a super kick, and I'll tell you right now, man, Derek's got one of the best looking super kicks around. And I got a bad habit. Somebody throws a super kick, I'm leaning in just a little bit.
Right.
And like you said, man, if it's gonna make a little bit of connection, I'm all. If it's gotta make a little bit of connection to make it look good, I'm not gonna bitch. But like you said, there's a difference in making connection, be it working snug, than just being careless and knocking the shit out of me.
Kicking your fucking teeth out your mouth. Right.
Yeah. Like I'll give you an example. Luke Graham Jr. I was working Luke Graham one night. My very first time ever working Luke. I was baby. I was like, punch. He's like, no, kid, throw me some forearm. And we were in the back. I said, dude, I've never threw a forearm. I don't know how to throw one just yet. I don't want to knock shit out of you. He's like, oh man, we'll be all right, kid. All right. I warned you. I don't know how to throw a damn forearm. We're getting out there, bro. We're working. He's like, all right, throw forearm. I'll rear back, and I knocked the shit out of him. He leans in. He goes, all right, kid, throw a fucking punch now. Leave them damn forearms.
Just go on and hit me for real, man. Fuck it, dude. Look, but yeah, I got a
no, I was just saying, yeah, it's you got to learn in advance in this business, man.
Right. I got a quick Luke Graham story, and then we got to wrap it up. Look, so in 2000, Luke's running Little Rock. He's got his own building up there. Mm-hmm. He's running Galaxy
wasn't it?
Galaxy, right? So me and my wife now, we just got together. So we go to Little Rock. She goes to the show with me, and obviously she's sitting out in the audience, sitting beside another lady. So Luke's in the ring wrestling. Luke always got them fucking old school short trunks. So I think he's wrestling Brick House, maybe. So I'm not out there. This is my old lady telling me this. So apparently every time Brick House snap mares Luke's balls fall out of his fucking trunks, man, and they're sitting on the mat. And so she said, he just nonchalantly kind of stuffed them back in his trunks, and they did something else, and he's back down, and his balls are out again, man. So he puts them back up, and she looks over at the woman sitting next to her, and she said, did you see that? And the woman rolled her eyes and said, yeah, I seen that. And she said, the woman next to her told her, he's mine. It was Luke's old lady, man. She was just, dude, look, she said Luke's balls was just sitting on the mat, just sitting there, dude. He would scoop them back in, man. I love Luke,
I've had that happen before.
Luke's a cool ass dude, man.
Yeah, it is, man. But I know thank you for having me on here tonight, man. It was fun just sitting here shooting the shit, catching
dude,
up.
If you got something else to say it, dude. We still got a couple of minutes left. If you
I was just saying else. Thank you. No, I was gonna say I was just saying I had a I had a story, like that, man. What do you call it? ASWF and Tuckerman. I was doing a ladder match, and I was up on top of the ladder. I grabbed the rope. I told dude, I said, when I grab the rope, pull the ladder out from under me. I'll hang. I'm sitting there hanging, dude. It was when I was wearing trunks like Luke wears, Luke wore. I'm saying there, dude, and dude looks up, and my damn balls are hanging out, and I'm midair.
Just dangling.
Luckily, I had underwear on, and I just look around the crowd like this. I just reach down, pop them back in, and I get down there and I take another bump, and I'm laying on the mat, dude. And I didn't realize that my trunks had slid aside. My balls are hanging out again, and I'm laying there, and dude, the referee, instead of telling me, hey, your balls are out, put them back, referee nonchalantly reaches up, tucks my balls back in my trunks for me.
Oh, Lord, man. Dude. Look, hey, I'm going to stop you.
I was like, what the hell?
Wait, man, look, you cannot get out of here without putting us a name on that ref, dude. I promise you. We'll sit here all fucking night, right?
Well, his name was he was a redheaded kid. Well, I say kid. He was a redheaded guy. His name was Chad. Look, I don't know if he refs anymore.
All right, dig this. Sam is I don't know if it was Ron McClarty and Sam or Sarge and Sam, but so they're working the chain gimmick, handing it all back and forth. And obviously Sarge or Ron One has had it in his tights by his balls. By his balls. So they're working the gimmick. They cheat with the chain. And you know, this is probably like the third time the refs done kind of checked everybody, including Sam. So they hand the chain off to Sam. Sam's done the arm thing and all this other shit trying to hide it. So he pops it in his mouth. And whoever
I knew that's where you.
Look, whether it was Ron or Sarge, I want to say maybe it was Sarge, but Sam said he looks over at me and he goes, "You know that chain was I just had that chain all over my balls, man." And Sam sitting there with that fucking chain in his mouth, been all over Sarge's balls, man. Dude, hey, the shit that goes on in the wrestling business, man, that's just it's crazy.
I was gonna say, something told me where you was going with that was it was in their pants and then somebody put it in their mouth.
Dude, he's sitting there, man, and look, we're all look. I fuck with him all the time. Anytime something comes up about a chain gimmick, I fuck with him about that ball chain in his mouth, man. look, Ray, man, dude, it has been my pleasure having you, man. I've enjoyed this show, man. Truthfully,
yes,
I really didn't plan on us going but an hour, but we went over 2, and it's flew by, man. I feel like, dude, we could probably sit here and talk 3 more hours and never talk about the same thing over. Man, listen to me. I want to tell you this, dude. I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you
that means a lot, Buster.
For growing into yourself, man. For growing into your own skin, dude. I really, like I said, I'm hyped on the authentic. I think that it was the natural evolution, and I think it's perfect for you. I love the idea that you're part owner in the Wrestling with Pride, man. It's a really cool thing. And dude, Ray, you know this. I wish you the best of luck, dude, in everything. Your career, man, your company, and your life, dude.
That means more than you'll ever know, man. Like, being around some of the people that I started with in the business, well, I say started with, that was around when I started. You know, seen Sam a couple years ago, East Coast, you know, to be able to, and I say finally, but comfortably be myself around everybody, you know,
right.
It means more than more than anybody will ever know, because, you know, back in the day, you know, I wasn't able to be myself because I was hiding everything. But now that I can be myself, you know, I love it. I wouldn't change nothing, because again, I learned from you. I learned from Sam, and that genuinely means the world to me.
Dude, look, here's the thing, man. You said it earlier, when you did finally open up and come out and basically freed yourself, man. I think I'm with you. I think your career has elevated since that point. I just do, man. I think you were always killer in the ring, and you were creative as hell. You know, even before you had booking, you could tell that by your matches. You can tell how creative people are by the kind of matches they put together. But dude, I think that I think you've spread your wings, man, and I think you are flying higher than you've ever flown from day one, dude. I think it's the best thing you ever did. You can see it in your ring work too. You can tell when I watch you that you're comfortable out there. You're just being Ray. You're not, there's 100%. No facades, there's no bullshit. You're just being you, and that's the best. That's why you get over, man. When you can just be you is when you get over the biggest, dude.
Thank you. Well, look, before we go, I just want to extend the invitation to you to come to the show sometime.
Dude, I'd love to, man. I'm very seldom in Arkansas, but man, I will pick a show sometime and make a trip. My wife's family's from Mark Tree, so I could very easily. Okay. They're all for going and visiting, and I could come to a show. Look, dude, before we get off here, tell everybody where Wrestling with Pride is. Tell them what time bell time is Saturday night, and tell them what time what ticket prices are, dude.
Wrestling with Pride is actually this coming Saturday, February 10th. It's I think it's 104 North 4th Street in Oil Trough, Arkansas. Doors open at 5:30. Bell time is at 7 p.m. Ticket prices are $10 for the floor, $8 for general admission, which is bleachers. But we also offer VIP packages, and if you're interested in VIP packages, contact us at wrestling, Facebook Wrestling, with Pride, and we'll be more than happy to, get with you and get you taken care of on our VIP packages. It's an experience that we are honored to be able to give, and an experience that I'm sure you'll never forget.
You heard it right there, guys. Wrestling with Pride this weekend, this Saturday night. Ray, once again, dude, it was my pleasure, and thank you so much for coming on, man. This is a show that I've been looking forward to way longer than we ever booked it, man. It's been
Yes,
my
sir.
pleasure, my friend.
Hey, no problem at all. Thank you for having me, and I would be happy to come back at any time.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, dude. Like I said, I think we could talk 3 more hours and never repeat the same shit.
Yeah.
So, Ray,
yes, sir.
You have a great night,
you.
dude, and you
You
take
as well,
it easy.
man.
All right, guys. You seen it right there. Ray Ivy, the authentic. Talented ass dude in the wrestling ring, highly creative all the way around. You can catch him twice this weekend. You can catch him at MCW on Friday night or Wrestling with Pride on Saturday night. Look, guys, no show tomorrow. We pulled tomorrow's show. We had to cancel it. But look, starting Sunday, next week, we got 4 big shows again, starting Sunday night at 7 p.m. All Pro Wrestling out of Marianna, Arkansas. I got the owner and founder. He's going to be here with me Sunday night at 7, Ricky Kennedy. And we're going to find out all about All Pro Wrestling. We might even find out a little bit about Buster Cherry, too. Look, guys, Monday night, special start time, 7:30. The absolute tip-top female in the wrestling business around our territory, the goddess of the night, Nyx. This is a show that has been booked twice over. And something happened both times. This Monday, the 3rd time should be the charm. That's a show you do not want to miss. This lady is all over the place. Ring of Honor, Memphis Wrestling, EPW. She is everywhere. Also, Tuesday night, this is another show that's been booked twice. Apparently, this week is shows that I've tried to do, and both of them have been booked. This is the 3rd time over, but Tuesday night, Sleazy E. We're going to be here with Sleazy E, and Buster Unmasked is going to get as sleazy as it can possibly be. That's another show you don't want to miss. And then Thursday night, it's all about Premier Pro Wrestling, because next Friday night, Premier Pro Wrestling is back in Dyer, Tennessee at the Dyer Fire Department with a huge card, and we're going to run down every bit of it. Guys, I want to thank everybody who watched, everybody who interacted with us. All of y'all, take it easy and have a great night. If you're looking for a pro wrestling podcast with me, Buster Unmasked is the only podcast for you, where real pro wrestlers talk real pro wrestling and no bullshit allowed. If you're looking for a pro